at the beginning of the movie, when Maria comes running back down after singing The Hills Are Alive, she tells the mother Abbess that the Untersberg was calling her, so that's what she's talking about, that mountain. Then she says she grew up on the Untersberg, and she used to look over the fence into the abbey. So two things with that, geographical liberties that Hollywood takes. It's at least a 3.5 to 4 hour hike down that mountain, and she came all the way down there and ran across to the abbey in the time they sang How Do We Solve a Problem Like Maria. On the left now you'll see the fortress again for those on the left, and then the abbey a bit further down. As you can see, it's quite a long way from the Untersberg mountain all the way over there. So she also had good binoculars when she was looking over the fence in the movie. But the best Hollywood liberty that they took with the geography in the movie was the final scene where they escaped by climbing over the Untersberg mountain. That was the last scene there as they climbed over. So again, up 4.5 hour hike up, which is quite a feat with 7 young children, of course. It's not an easy hike either. And on the other side of that, they were heading up there because when they came down the other side, they would be in Switzerland, which is absolutely not true. Obviously, they were hoping that nobody had a clue where Austria was in the scheme of things. And on the other side of that mountain is not Switzerland. It's a few hundred kilometres further away to the west, Switzerland. But at the time, what was on the other side of that mountain was the second headquarters of the Nazis outside of Berlin. So that wasn't the best idea of our movie captain to lead his family over the hill. It's where Hitler had his home, where they had the whole Obersalzberg area shut off, where all of the bad guys were basically in that space. So I think that's why there wasn't a Sound of Music 2 made, because they weren't coming out of that very well together at all. Luckily, the real Maria and Captain did know the geography of Salzburg, and that is not how they escaped. So that was just a movie storyline. Now the fortress up the top there, totally worth going up to as well to see the view across Salzburg. A couple of ways you can get up there, either by walking or taking the vernacular railway. And there's castles up the top. There's a castle up the top. It is a castle up the top, and you can walk along there and go through the castle and see all the exhibitions inside. One of them is the Marionette Museum, and in there you find the entire Von Trapp family made out of marionette puppets, which is very cute. So don't walk past that if you are up there at the fortress. The best way to do the fortress, or any if you're going to do activities in the city, is to get the Salzburg card. It's 24 or 48 hours. Really good value, 31 euros for 24 hours, and that gives you all your public transport, but also entrance into all of these things. So it takes you up the fortress, into the castle, Mozart's birthhouse, Mozart's house he lived in, the zoo, the water trick fountains, which will be out here where we're going, I'll tell you about. But it also includes a ticket to get up to the top of the Untersberg, which you're going to see on your right when we come past this field again. There's a cable car going up there, and it takes you right up there, and that ticket alone is around 28 euros, so the other one is good value. But on our left side now, we are going to see the Von Trapp Villa, the real movie one, not the real Von Trapp Villa. This palace on the left is the one that they used for all of the scenes that you see the outside of the house. It was built in 1620 by Archbishop Marcus Sidicus. It is called the Frauenberg Palace, and is now also owned by the Mozarteum Music Academy. So we're just going to go slowly past it there so you can see, and we do come back this way again. So on the right hand side you'll get a shot of it on the way back. So you got scenes where Maria was skipping at the end of Eye of Confidence. Along that yellow wall she came in to the Von Trapp house for the first time and went through the gates and up to the front door and rang the doorbell. When the captain and Maria returned from their honeymoon, and he tore down the Nazi flag that was hanging above that door there. When they pushed the 2-ton Mercedes Cabriolet out very quietly, those very strong little children. You couldn't see the very big group of Austrian men towing it with ropes on the other side. Where Rolf was throwing stones up at the window. But also whenever they had scenes on the terrace out the back, usually one person had the lake behind them when they were having a conversation. One person had a yellow house behind them, so obviously not the palace we just saw. But when they get out of the water after the rowboat incident, the captain holds up the play clothes and says, "What may I ask of these?" He has the lake, quite fine really. And then they do some very clever editing to cut it all together and make it look like one place, which was some of their continuity they had to make sure they got right. If the kids that I remember once where he says, all right, everyone run inside for dinner, and he's got the lake behind him, but as they run past him, he's got the yellow house behind him. So very clever filming the way they did all of that. When the captain rips down the flag and he tears it in half in quite the statement of protest, have a look at that next time, because you won't unsee this. There's actually quite hands all the way along, so like he's looking for the cut and then he rips it in half, which is quite cute. So the same archbishop that built the Frauenberg Palace, Marcus Sidicus, he built this just before Frauenberg, so in the early 1600s. This was his private residence, so it's on the right-hand side, the palace. We won't be going there because it's got nothing to do with the Sound of Music. But as I said, this is where the gazebo ended up, so we're going to look at that. In here is a very cool tour you can do, which is the water trick fountains, also included in the Salzburg card. Or you can just do it separately. You get a little audio guide, you wander around in the palace gardens there at the back. There's about 25 or so water fountains that are all hydro-powered. They've got moving parts. One of them's even like a massive village scene that plays music and everything, all powered by water. And you don't see all of the fountains though, because some of them are trick fountains and they hide. So you walk into a room and it squirts you and you're not expecting it. But the big showpiece in there is the dining table. Marcus Sidicus used to invite his guests over and to entertain them in his garden. They'd all sit down there. They would have lots of good food and wine. And when they were feeling very merry and he felt a little bit cheeky, he would get someone to turn the water on, and inside every one of their seats was a water jet that shot straight up in the middle and soaked them from below. That was his entertainment. He thought it was very funny because no one ever stood up, because it was the height of bad manners to stand up before your host said you may leave the table. I'm not sure if that's where that whole manners thing came from, but I think if we were sprayed with a water jet from underneath, we probably would just leave the table. And if you do the tour, you are invited to sit at this dining table, so be careful which seat you sit on. Marcus's didn't have a water jet, so there's one without a water jet, but then they turn it on. And it's good fun. So when we get out of the bus, we are going to gather at the laneway over there, but we're going to split in half on either side of the laneway, because there's bikes right through there, just so we're all together. Then we're going to go over and see the gazebo. Please do not go down to the palace. You won't have enough time to walk down there. Just come to the gazebo and the toilets and then back to the bus. When you get back, we've got the drinks for sale, beer and sparkling wine. Let me have a look. Yeah? Yeah. Beer and sparkling wine for €3. Oh, so soft drinks. Oh, look at this. Mickey's really the world's best bartender. Beer, sparkling wine, €3. Soft drinks, $2.50, and water, $1.50 with cash only, please. The Almdudler is the Austrian lemonade here. That is like soda, bubbly soda with alpine herbs in it. That's pretty cool. And otherwise, there's some other soft drinks there. So you can come and see Mickey when you get back to the bus. Thanks.